This happened in the fall of 2021 when I was living alone in a rented townhouse in southern Illinois. It was my first time ever living by myself, and even though I was technically an adult, 27, with a full-time job and a stable routine, I still had a lot of nerves about the idea. I'd just gone through a rough breakup, and I thought the silence and solitude might help me process everything. The townhouse was part of a small row of identical units, kind of plain but clean and quiet, tucked away in a sleepy cul-de-sac just off a rural highway. The neighborhood had that sterile suburban vibe. Lots of beige vinyl siding, trimmed hedges, wind chimes, and mailboxes with family names stenciled on them. Mostly older folk, but a few young families. I didn't know any of my neighbors well, but I liked it that way. I kept to myself. But almost right away, I noticed one person who stood out from the rest. He lived 3 doors down. A tall, heavy-set man, probably in his mid-40s, with a scruffy beard and a weird habit of standing outside his house at night, sometimes just pacing or smoking, sometimes doing nothing at all, just staring. I'd pull into my driveway after work around 9 or 10 p.m., and there he'd be, leaning against his porch rail or just standing at the edge of his driveway facing the street. He never waved, never smiled. He just stared. Even if I looked directly at him, I tried to ignore it. A couple of times I mentioned it to friends or my mom, and they said maybe he was just a night owl or had insomnia, but there was something unsettling about him, like he was always watching but never participating. It wasn't just that he was there, it was the stillness. He didn't fidget or check his phone or shift his weight. He just stood there like a statue. I told myself not to be paranoid, but the more time passed, the more that gnawing feeling in my gut grew. Then the noises started. It was around mid-September when I first heard it. I had just gotten home from work after a long shift. I worked late hours managing inventory at a distribution center, and I usually got in around 10:30 p.m., exhausted, grabbing a bite to eat, and crashing. That night, I fell asleep around midnight. At exactly 2:37 a.m., I woke up to a sound I can only describe as metal scraping against wood. At first, I thought I had dreamed it, but then I heard it again. A long, slow creaking noise, like an old gate opening. My bedroom was on the first floor, at the back of the unit, and I had a sliding glass door with vertical blinds that led to a small, fenced-in backyard. I sat up in bed, heart racing, and listened. There was a pause. Then I heard footsteps, soft, crunching sounds, like someone walking slowly across gravel. My entire backyard was lined with decorative rock instead of grass, so you could hear every footstep clearly. These weren't animal sounds. I grabbed my phone and crept out of bed. I didn't have a weapon, just a dull kitchen knife I kept in my nightstand, just in case, which at the time felt kind of ridiculous. I crouched by the edge of the window and peeked through the blinds. I couldn't see anything. The motion light wasn't on, which meant either they were out of range or had come in a different way. I dialed 911. The dispatcher was calm, asked for my address, and told me officers were en route. I stayed crouched in the dark, barely breathing. About 10 minutes later, red and blue lights flickered through my front window. I got up, opened the door, and met the 2 officers outside. I explained everything, what I heard, what time it started. One of them walked around the back while the other stayed with me and asked a few questions. The officer in the yard came back and said the gate was closed and there were no signs of tampering, but said he'd write up a report just in case. They didn't see anyone. No footprints or damage. Basically no crime. One of them actually said, probably just a raccoon, and gave me a look that clearly said, "You're wasting our time." I didn't argue. They left after about 10 minutes. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. The next morning, I went outside to check the backyard myself. That's when I noticed something strange. There was a flat stone about the size of a paperback book, wedged under the bottom edge of the wooden fence gate. I hadn't noticed it before. The gate had a heavy spring that made it swing closed automatically, but the stone looked like it had been placed there specifically to stop it from closing all the way. It was subtle, like something someone would do if they wanted to come back later and slip in without making noise. I picked up the rock and tossed it across the yard. I called the police again and told them what I'd found. They told me they'd note it in the report, but again said there wasn't much they could do. I asked if they could talk to any of the neighbors or check for cameras. They said no, unless a crime was committed, they couldn't investigate. I felt like I was losing my mind. 2 nights later, it escalated. At exactly 2:14 a.m., I woke up again, this time to the sound of my back door handle turning. The handle rattled gently at first, like someone testing it, then a harder jiggle, like someone trying to open it. I sat up in bed, heart hammering. I couldn't see anything through the blinds, but I could feel someone standing on the other side. My mouth went dry. I picked up my phone with shaking hands and called the police again. While I waited, I crouched in the hallway, out of view. I didn't have a gun or dog, just that stupid kid.
Some villages are abandoned forever, not just because people stop living there, but because something else starts living there, something that is not human. This is the story of Andhera Gaon, the dark village. 20 years ago, it was full of life, joy, and laughter. But one night changed everything. It was Diwali night. People were celebrating, the village was lit with lights. That's when 12-year-old boy named Ramesh wandered toward the forest. They say something called him there. In the forest, he found a small hut. Inside lived a strange figure, maybe a man or maybe not. Where his eyes should have been, there was only darkness, and he kept repeating one thing over and over: time is up. Ramesh ran back to the village. But after that night, everything changed. Every full moon, someone was found dead, their eyes wide open, face frozen in terror. People became too scared to step outside after dark. The village elders said the hut was home to a dark spirit, one that not only takes lives, but also steals screams. A tantric came once. He warned that as long as people keep speaking her name, she will keep returning, and each time, she will bring greater terror. Eventually, everything fell silent. Years passed, and people left. The village became what it is now, Andhera Gaon, the dark village. Today, 20 years later, YouTuber went there to make content. He started a live stream. Everything seemed normal at first. Then, a sound echoed, the same chilling phrase, time is up. The next morning, only his camera was found. The YouTuber had vanished without a trace. Even now, people say that if you ever visit an old, abandoned village, and you hear a voice at 10 a.m. saying, time is up, never look back. And if you've watched this video till the end, remember, some doors are never meant to be opened.
Knife. My motion light clicked on, and through a tiny gap in the blinds, I saw a shadow move across the window. It was a man. He didn't run or try to hide. He just stood there. The same 2 officers showed up again. This time, they actually found footprints in the gravel, big ones, heading right up to the door. But again, they said since no entry had been made, there wasn't enough to go on. They promised to patrol the area more often and told me to keep my doors locked. The next day, I installed a camera. It was one of those mid-range Wi-Fi security cams. I set one up above the back door and another above the front porch. That night, I didn't go to bed. I sat in the living room with the lights off, watching the live feed on my phone. 2:14 a.m. came and went. Nothing happened. Then, at 2:23, the back camera triggered. A man stepped into frame. He walked in through the gate like he knew exactly how to move to avoid the motion sensor until the last second. He was tall and broad, wearing a black hoodie with the hood up, jeans and gloves. He walked up to the door, looked up directly at the camera, and smiled. A slow, stretched out grin. Then he backed up, still staring, and disappeared into the dark. I called the police again, and they came back, watched the clip, and admitted that yes, it was unsettling. But since he didn't break in, didn't damage property, and didn't appear to be armed, there was still allegedly nothing they could do. They wouldn't even ask the guy down the street to check his doorbell cam. I begged them. They said their hands were tied. That night, I packed a bag and slept at a hotel. When I came back the next day, I found 4 muddy handprints on the glass door. 2 high up and 2 low, like someone had crouched down and just rested their hands there for a while, staring in. I moved out a week later. I broke my lease and forfeited my deposit. I didn't care. I couldn't stay there another night. The final straw was the note I found wedged in my mailbox the day I left. It was handwritten in small cramped letters on lined notebook paper. It said, "The cops leave, but I don't." I filed one last report. The officer I spoke to that time looked genuinely disturbed by the note. He promised they'd do a wellness check on the neighborhood, but it was too late. I never went back. About a month later, I got a message on Facebook from a girl named Kayla. She said she was the new tenant who had moved into the unit after me. Her message said, "Hi, sorry to bother you. I think you used to live here. Did you ever have someone in a black hoodie hanging around the backyard? I keep hearing footsteps at night, and last night, someone knocked on the glass door around 2 a.m. and just stood there." I didn't reply. I didn't want to know what happened next. I work for a property preservation company. Basically, we handle foreclosed homes, securing them, cleaning them out, winterizing them, sometimes even boarding them up if there's been vandalism. It's not glamorous work, but it pays well, and for the most part, it's quiet. You spend a lot of time alone in houses that used to belong to people who are long gone. Sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's just boring, but every once in a while, you get a house that feels unsettling. This happened in 2020 when I was assigned to clear out a property in a rural part of upstate New York. It was one of those dying places, only one gas station, half the businesses shuttered, roads cracked and overgrown. The house itself was a small, one-story place off.
Hey there. So, how did you like the video? I hope it won your heart and you truly enjoyed watching it. I know your time is super valuable, so if you've watched the video till the end, a heartfelt thank you. It's the support from amazing people like you that keeps me motivated to create content like this. Creating this video took a lot of effort from research to editing. With every single frame, my only aim was to give you value, entertain you, and help you learn something new. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a comment. Your feedback is my biggest strength. And hey, if you are new to the channel, do me a small favor, hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to tap the bell icon, so the next time I upload a video, you get notified instantly and don't miss out. One more small request: if you found the video even a little informative or entertaining, please share it with your friends. Who knows, they might enjoy it too, and our small digital family can grow even bigger. If there's any specific topic you'd like me to make a video on, feel free to drop it in the comments below. I regularly read through your comments, and I definitely work on the topics that are most requested. And if you'd like to see some behind-the-scenes content or chat with me directly, go follow me on Instagram. You'll find the handle in the description. That's it for this video, folks. Your support means the world to me. Every like, every comment, and every subscriber gives me new hope and motivation. If you want to watch the video again or revisit a specific part, feel free to rewind the videos right here. And if you feel like something could have been better in the video, don't hesitate to tell me. Your suggestions help me grow and improve. I'll see you again in the next video with a new topic, fresh energy, and even more value. Till then, take care of yourself, stay happy, and stay creative. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit that like button and drop a in the comments if you got those full power vibes. See you in the next one. Until then, bye bye, take care, and love you all.